Jeff. We are live in 3, 2, 1.
You're watching Meet the Movie Press, and coming up, we're going to be talking about Bumblebee, Jungle Cruise, Suicide Squad 2, Star Wars 9, Lion King, all that good stuff. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk, we talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Meet the Movie Press.
Good morning, Simon.
Morning, Jeff. How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. It's been a busy week.
It wasn't that busy, though.
It was busy for me.
Oh,
Hollywood
really?
never sleeps, my friend. Hollywood never sleeps.
Getting yelled at by publicists, huh?
Well, yeah, that was fun.
Now you know how it feels.
Yeah. I haven't heard the last of this. Okay.
You haven't.
I'll wait right here.
Well, this is Meet the Movie Press,
Hello.
folks. That's what you're listening to. That's what you're watching. I am Jeff Sneider,
Good.
editor-in-chief of the tracking board, tracking-board.com.
Yep.
Don't forget the hyphen. And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at the InSneider. With me, as always,
Simon Thompson. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at ShowbizSimon. And there's a Facebook page. This is Simon Thompson. Yeah. So when you can find my work, you can kind of find it everywhere, but it won't always be me on it because I'm kind of busy these days, which is good.
Okay.
Yeah, a bit of TV, bit of online, bit of radio, bit of magazine.
You're a multi-platform artist.
I am multi-platform.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like a dongle with loads of USBs on them. And with a British accent and bald.
But it's a beautiful bald.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Okay, where do you want to start the show today, big guy?
Okay, let's start with a casting this week that a lot of people some people got bent out of shape on it, and I don't understand why, because I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, it seemed like a good fit to me. Let's clue everyone in to what we're talking about.
Okay, so this is the Bumblebee movie, the Transformers spin-off movie. Now, I am no big fan of the Transformers franchise. If you watch the show regularly, you know that I like the Transformers movie, and all the sequels have just been terrible. And I have not seen the last one because life is too short. But they're doing a Bumblebee spin-off movie, which we knew already Hayley Steinfeld was going to be attached to. She's going to be the main female. And it was announced this week that John Cena is going to be joining the cast.
Yeah.
In effectively the lead role, which we've seen sort of the Shia LaBeouf, the Mark Wahlberg we've seen in the other movies, and this is going to be his. A lot of people got upset about this week.
Wait, did it say he was going to be the lead?
I'm assuming, if you look at...
I don't think he is. I don't think he's the lead. I think it's definitely Hayley Steinfeld.
Yeah, but the lead male, I think it's fair to assume that he'll be the lead male in this film. Because if you look at everybody else, they are not lead males.
Yeah,
he's the name.
But if it's about the kids, then he's not going to be the lead male. It's going to be whoever her love interest is. It's going to be Jorge Lindbergh Jr.
Yes. Okay.
I'm just saying, I don't know if John Cena is actually the lead in this
movie. We're looking at... Okay, let me put it in a way. If we're looking at top 3 names on the poster for Bumblebee, John's there.
Fair?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. It's not going to be or with or introducing... JC.
I don't know. I saw a movie yesterday that introduced Daniel Craig. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Spoiler alert.
That's showbiz. I need to talk about that one, by the way.
So John Cena has joined Bumblebee. We're not quite sure where he's going to fit into this puzzle.
Well, there you go. Okay, I still think he's going to be the lead male. I still think he's going to be the lead male. Certainly the big temple name. But anyway, that's aside.
Do we even know
we'll have to agree to disagree.
Do we even know he's even in the live action? Could he be voicing a Transformer?
No, we don't know that.
We don't know any of this stuff.
No, but come on. Why would you hire him and you would not have him as the live action guy?
I'm just saying. There are a lot of assumptions going on over there. But just leave it vague. Just leave it vague.
Okay, he's going to be in it.
Yeah, John Cena's going to be in it.
A lot of people got upset about it.
Yeah, and why? Why?
I don't know. I think this is a great idea.
I just don't understand how it's like...
I think he's great.
These guys are a good match. Like, he's on the level where Bumblebee is. Like, if Brad Pitt joined Bumblebee, wouldn't that be a bigger head scratcher than John Cena? If John Cena joined David O. Russell's next movie, wouldn't that be a bigger head scratcher? Like,
yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, he's look at what John's done. Some fun, not blockbuster, but fun action movies.
I like John Cena.
Yeah, he's done a couple of animated things. He's done some comedy.
Kids like John Cena. He's a role model.
He's great.
He's right for the Transformers
and
universe.
He's a great American.
He could be playing her dad. We don't know that either.
Could be. but he's going to be top 3 on the poster if he is the dad.
Simon's
sticking with that.
like John Cena's agent. He's like, we're going to get your top 3 billing on the poster. Let me tell you, John.
We need to go big on this, John. We need to go big.
The font's going to be a little bit bigger.
Okay, when the poster comes out, I'm going to think it's going to come out possibly by the end of the year.
It should just be a big floating head of John Cena that says Bumblebee.
Also featuring Transformers.
Right, like a little Transformer.
Totally. Haley's in it too. But yeah, I don't know why people got upset about it. For me, this is a great decision. I think it's a really good idea for the franchise as well, because I think this gives this a little bit of a boost. It won't be seen as an also-ran project. It'll be seen as something in its own right, which could potentially be a sub-franchise, which I think is great. I don't know why people got upset about this.
A sub-franchise of the sub-franchise?
There aren't enough of those. We're always saying...
Oh, God.
You know, what about...
Listen, I don't waste my time...
What about 008?
I don't waste my time trying to figure out why the internet is upset about something anymore. I just move on with my day. I don't care. You're mad about John Cena joining Bumblebee?
But nobody seemed to have a point why they were upset about it. That's the thing.
And now we're talking about it on the show.
Yeah.
Giving credence
Big
to those...
news. To the top 3 builds...
Yeah. I think we should start.
I think there are certain things that outrage people on film Twitter. This was one where I was kind of scratching my testicle-like head.
I think... Okay. We don't need that image. I think that people just have it out for Bumblebee in general.
Yeah.
Because the Transformers universe is so bad, and why are they doing all these spin-offs, and yada, yada, yada. Whatever.
Maybe this is where they're going to up the game on the
that's what I think. I think that you make this movie for half, if not a third, as much as everything else.
Yep.
You do it basically at a Dark Tower budget of around $65 million. I mean, this one may be a little bit more expensive, but I'd be surprised if they're spending more than $100 million on this. I don't know why you need to. This is a movie about a young, like a girl and her friendship with a robot. And
another one of those.
And maybe you need 3 scenes, you know, of the robot like getting into some shit and protecting her from some threat. But yeah, I don't think it needs to be this huge movie. The way the Transformers movies have become unwieldy.
Yeah.
All right, let's hop over to Disney.
Okay.
And talk about The Wrap's big scoop about Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Yeah. Being
in talks to voice Scar in the Lion King movie.
Yeah.
There was a lot of commotion about this one too. People were like, "Can he even sing?" like Scar is supposed to be voiced by fucking Barbara Streisand.
I would see that.
Barbara voice. That would be good.
I would totally watch that.
And you chimed in and you were like, "Of course he can sing because
Kinky Boots."
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it was a small movie over here. It wasn't a big box office movie. It was a British... If you don't know the story of Kinky Boots, obviously it's become, a Broadway musical, and it was a music in London as well. It was about a film about a shoe factory that was kind of going out of business. They just weren't fashionable anymore. They decided to reinvent themselves and start making boots for transvestites and transgender people. So, obviously, if they were of a original male physique, they're going to have a different thing to females, and so they had to make shoes that were more sturdy, and that was basically. And Chiwetel Ejiofor played Lola, who was a drag queen from London, who teamed up with Charlie, who ran the factory, Joel Edgerton.
Okay.
And basically they created these shoes, and obviously the film is not exactly, it's not a documentary, it's not factually accurate, but they went on this adventure. They took them to Milan, to the Paris, to all the fashion shows, and they saved the factory. So Chewie, playing Lola, sang a number of cabaret numbers as Lola, the drag queen, the female impersonator, and sang really, really well. It's also not the first time that Chewie has sang. It's just when Chewie did musical theatre at university, he sang in productions there. So Chewie can sing. Chiwetel Ejiofor, not Chewie from Star Wars.
Right.
I've never heard. He just kind of... That was Chewie from Star Wars, not Chiwetel Ejiofor singing.
I think Chiwetel would make a pretty cool Scar.
I think he'd be great.
They just had Idris Elba do Jungle Book.
Yeah.
I think Chiwetel sort of fits that mold of sort of like this, intimidating. I know he can sing because I know that they're looking at him for a Les Mis thing. I've heard that they're mounting another like Les Mis for television, maybe like a big BBC sweeping adaptation thing, and I'd heard that they were looking at
Les Mis 2, Back to the Miz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But no, I mean, he can sing. I think his voice would fit Scar absolutely perfectly. Obviously, there was the talk of Hugh Jackman, voicing Scar. That was something that people spoke about.
So that's something.
And we know Hugh can sing.
That was not real. That was never real. That was, I like the site that broke that, but there was never any credence to that. No one does their own fucking checking anymore. That's what fucking drives me insane. All these people posturing like they have all the answers across the internet. None of them even bother to check. They just pick it up blindly. I thought that there was credence to the Hugh Jackman thing, and I wrote it up that weekend at D23, but when I couldn't confirm it, it didn't get posted.
Yeah.
It doesn't get posted as a rumor. It doesn't get couched. If you can't confirm it, don't post it. So the stories in the headlines where it was like Chiwetel replacing Hugh Jackman in The Lion King, or, well, whatever happened to Hugh Jackman? Nothing ever happened to Hugh Jackman. So I don't know if, I don't know if Hugh Jackman was up for it and they just couldn't cut a deal, but that shit drove me nuts. For all we know, Chiwetel was always, the first and only choice. Do you think that they should be bringing Jeremy Irons back for this?
No, I mean, he was great as Scar. I mean, everybody who did that, all the voice talent in the original Lion King, spot on. But I think if you are doing a new version of the story, you have to have a new cast, or you bring all of the old cast back. But if you're doing something new, why would you bring the old cast back? He was great.
But you know that the old cast is in this, right?
Yeah.
James Earl Jones.
Yes, no, absolutely.
So people were like, well, if you're going to get James Earl Jones, why wouldn't you just bring back Jeremy Irons? I don't understand that argument either.
No, I don't know. I mean, I would say if you're doing something, if you want to, it's like if you do a reboot, you can sometimes have the guest appearances by people. Obviously, I think I agree with the James Earl Jones coming back, but everybody else, I think I would just go new. Why would you?
What is left for this movie to cast? We have Rafiki.
Yep.
We've got the Hyenas.
Yep.
And I would love to see them do something cool with the Hyenas.
Yeah.
Tina Fey and Amy Poehler and Will Ferrell or something. I don't fucking know. But the big one is Nala.
Yes. Rumored to be Beyonce.
Queen Bey.
Yeah.
I don't know what would prevent her from doing this. I mean, it's a couple of hours voice work, I assume.
I can think the only thing would be money.
Yeah, but you got to think Disney would pay out the nose for her.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, maybe that's going to be the cherry on the cake with the casting, where they're going to round it out very nicely.
That's what it's starting to feel like.
I think that's the way that this is going to go.
Yeah.
But I think the Hyenas, who would you like to see as the Hyenas?
I just said. Tina, Amy, and Will Ferrell.
Oh, God, yeah. What about Rafiki, then?
I don't. You tell me who you would pick for that one.
I think an obvious choice would be Kevin Hart. But I don't think would be quite right, because I think you need someone who is...
tonally be older and wiser.
Yeah, older and wiser. So I don't think tonally. But if you wanted a name,
Morgan Freeman.
No, see, I think he's too old, and I think his voice is too distinctive.
Michael Caine.
Oh,
Rafiki.
Bloody hell! I'm a wise old monkey.
My name is Rafiki.
You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off.
So that's the Lion King casting.
Yeah.
I think it's a really good choice. Again,
okay, can I just say this? If you have any ideas for those roles, do get in the chat and let me know, because I would love to get some of your thoughts.
Yeah, I don't give a...
I sound like Good Morning America.
Shit, really,
hey, get in the chat. We'd love to hear your
thoughts.
And
let Simon know.
I would. You don't care.
Simon cares about you. He's good cop, I'm bad cop.
Genuinely... I'm good cop, you're just miserable cop.
Miserable
cop. Yeah, but no, seriously, I'd like to... Obviously, people will have ideas about that, so do get in the chat and let us know, and I'll read some of them out.
All right.
No prize for the winners, it's just about taking part.
This week, big news out of the DCEU.
Yeah.
Literally out of the DCEU. Jean Sarah, who we all thought was signed, sealed, and delivered to direct Suicide Squad 2 for whatever reason, even though he never closed the deal.
Nope.
Opted instead to go and do Jungle Cruise, the Rock movie, over at Disney. Were you surprised by this?
I was quite surprised.
Why? Tell me why.
Okay, here's why. I was kind of like, okay, I would have thought they would have got someone, I don't know, I just assumed that they would go for a name, a really well-known director. But...
Wait, what?
Well, no,
you thought Disney would go for a name?
Yeah.
Dude, Jama's a name.
No, I'm... Okay, let me rephrase that. Someone who is known to people sort of who are not hardcore film fans. Someone, if you are Dave in Cleveland, a director that you would know, someone who has that, kind of like the likes of a John Favreau, if you're talking to a non-intense movie person, you'd know who they are. If you asked the average person to name a list of 10 directors, this guy would not be on that list.
Sure, fair.
So, and I'm thinking, and I was like, actually, it makes a really good choice, because if you look at the films that he's done, Non-Stop, The Shallows, and Orphan, all pretty different movies, but when you put The Rock, The Jungle Cruise, and things like drama and action scenes together, actually, mate, it could be really interesting as a film. I was kind of dismissive of this originally, because a lot of the movies that Disney have made based on theme park rides have been more misses than hits, and certainly acceptable but never great at best. And I'm just thinking, actually, with that combination, this could actually work really nicely. So I'm on board with this.
So I'm surprised and not surprised. There's two sides to this coin. Do I think Suicide Squad 2 fits Jama's sensibilities a little bit more? Yes.
Yeah.
Is it clear to me that Jama is looking to expand his horizons between that and the Waco movie that I don't think he's doing anymore? Not 100% sure about that, but I don't think he's doing Waco anymore. But clearly, he has been looking to branch out from the sort of material that he has been doing, and a big sort of guaranteed worldwide hit like Jungle Cruise, starring the world's biggest movie star, Dwayne Johnson, seems like a pretty good opportunity.
Makes sense to me.
You have to understand also that with Jungle Cruise, he gets to build something from the ground up that could become a big franchise. That who knows? That maybe that becomes the next Pirates of the Caribbean franchise for Disney. Jungle Cruise, 5, Return of who gives a shit.
You know what the sequel's going to be called? Jungle 2s.
Jungle 2s for sure.
Just saying.
So maybe that was more appealing to him than something like Suicide Squad, where all the decisions and the look of the film have really already been decided for you, even right down to the casting choices and everything. And our columnist John Stephen Roca, he wrote about that yesterday in his column about whether the DCEU has a director problem or whether it's just the victim of circumstance. It sounded to me like Jama had these offers for a while, and because of the way that comic book news is reported, as soon as the Suicide Squad thing happens, no one is waiting to see, well, what's going to happen with that? Let's see. Let's just, boom, get his fucking name out there. And that includes me, since I obviously started it. I mentioned Jama back in March because I wanted to be the first person to put his name out there. Unfortunately, people make this leap on the internet where if you say someone is being courted to direct a movie or a frontrunner, the trades have couched their language. The internet interprets this as this is a done deal. So there were all these exit stories yesterday when really he was never really in. He never really agreed to, because this Jungle Cruise thing was always in the background, and now it's in the foreground. A Jean Michael Sarah Disney movie, though. So you think it'll be interesting?
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. I mean, if we look at it was released by Paramount, but it's part of the Marvel universe. I was very skeptical about a Richard Branagh Thor. Sometimes when you hear a director, Kenneth Branagh, sorry, when you hear of a director being attached to a project, sometimes like, interesting, and it turns out to work very well.
Right.
So I mean, I think personally, if I was him, bearing in mind within if you're looking at the DCU, the first Suicide Squad, the second one is going to have to be really well received because you've got the poison chalice from the first one. So, and obviously with just if you kind of like, do I wanna go that way on something that's already established with a difficult second movie, or do I want to try and carve my own niche with someone who's Disney, a potential franchise with Dwayne Johnson? You're gonna kind of go that way, I would think. Something's caught your attention. What is it? Something's pricked your...
Yes. No.
Okay.
My little rant there about the Hugh Jackman thing caught the attention of the site that broke that. And so they said, we heard you loud and clear. And I didn't mean to, make them look bad, because we've all been there. I've fucking been there for sure. Yeah. But yeah, sometimes I'm just trying to tell the aggregator. It's really about. It's not so much about the person who goes out on the limb and reports it first. It's about the aggregators. That's who I'm saying confirm your shit.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna yell if you break a story because you trusted the wrong source. But yeah, if you're just picking that shit up blindly, that's what kills.
But also
me.
that's kind of a set. We'll get back to the topic in a second. But that's kind of a separate thing. That's where the rise of everybody's a blogger and not a journalist.
Right.
I
get it.
There's a difference between the two. But let's talk about the Jungle Cruise. But I think this works really well. I think it could be a franchise.
I think it's going to be like Jumanji. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be more on the PG side of things or the PG-13 side of things over at Disney, but I imagine that a Jungle Cruise movie will take the form of like a more family-friendly Jumanji.
You see, I think it's going to go slightly more towards... It's not going to go too far, but I think it's going to go slightly more towards the harder end of that potential PG-13 kind of thing.
So Jama's hiring would suggest something
Yeah, because
like
if you look at Non-Stop, The Shallows, Orphan, he's got those skills, but
he makes weird movies, Jama.
Yeah.
Orphan's a weird
but
fucking
very,
movie.
Yeah, but I love it.
It's great.
Yeah. And I just think that this, to me, looks really, really nice now. And I think you could do some... Shoving a bad villain, shoving a really kick-ass female character as well. And I think this could be very strong.
So who would you like to see direct Suicide Squad 2 now?
Do I have to want to see Suicide Squad 2? I don't know.
Listen, the ingredients are there for something good. I don't know how that movie was as bad as it was.
No.
I mean, that's a story thing with the Enchantress.
There are several theories. I mean, I think shitty characters, shitty writing.
But they're not. They're not shitty characters.
No, but
Harley Quinn was good.
Yeah, but mostly shitty. I mean,
I like Will Smith too, didn't you? Did you like Will Smith?
No, I'll be honest with you. I think Will Smith's been way better. I thought he underplayed it. He's been badass, way better in way more movies.
I think they have the ingredients there for something. They just need the right guy and the right take.
Overstuffed, underwritten.
Right person.
Just didn't. But I would like to see someone with gravitas take on it, just to elevate it a bit. We've seen this in DCU previously with things like Wonder Woman. When you get someone in there who can elevate it and form a connection, DC can make shit-hot superhero movies. Warner can make shit-hot superhero movies if all the ingredients of the cake are right. And I think they just need someone like a Patty who can just connect and elevate it in a way that they just have missed out for especially Suicide Squad, which was a big disappointment for me because I was really looking forward to that movie.
It's the most disappointing movie that year.
But so I don't know. I mean, I would like to see someone like a Branagh or a Gibson or someone of that ilk, someone who is a very strong, proven, known director get a go at that. That's what I would like to see. But who that is, I don't quite know. Why? I mean, I know he kind of fucked it up with King Arthur, but why not a Guy Ritchie?
Don't say it. No.
No?
No. Not to mention busy. You have to think about who's available.
He's got Aladdin.
He's doing Aladdin, yeah.
Has he got a brother?
He's booked for like 2
John
years.
Woo.
Has he got a brother?
Has he got a brother?
Mikey Ritchie.
What have you done?
Rich Ritchie.
Oh, working at Butcher's.
Someone said John Woo. Is John Woo still working?
I'm not going to answer that. I'll talk to you off.
Okay.
Off the air.
Okay.
Shit.
Wow, Pandora's box of awkward subjects.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about that off air.
Okay, let's go top over to the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
Getting a rewrite. Star Wars 9 getting a rewrite from Jack Thorne, who did Wonder, which I think looks really good.
Yeah.
That's the Jacob Tremblay movie where Julia Roberts and Owen Wilson play his parents. Is that reassuring that they're bringing someone in as a fresh set of eyes? To look at the script that Colin and Derek did?
Yeah.
Is there another problem?
No. No, I don't think there's another problem.
Does it suggest that Colin's leaving the Star Wars universe?
People get brought in as fresh pair of eyes on projects left, right, and center.
Especially on movies as big as this.
I swear to God, if I say you, the audience, obviously Jeff and I have an idea of this because we're slightly closer to it, but if you had an idea about how many fresh pair of eyes Judd Apatow is on scripts in Hollywood when it comes to comedy, seriously, you would just be... There are so many people who are fresh eyes on projects that you never know about. When you see a story and someone says it's a fresh pair of eyes or someone else is looking at it or putting in... Jesus Christ. I mean, Carrie Fisher used to be a fresh pair of eyes on so many scripts that a lot of people didn't know about until she actually died. Seriously, fresh pair of eyes happens day in, day out in Hollywood. Yeah, we just often don't hear about it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't concern me.
Go ahead.
I actually covered the Disney movie news, and they're like Disney connoisseurs or whatnot.
Yeah.
And they went off on a little tangent about the new writer for the Star Wars 9 film, Jack Thorne. He apparently wrote the Cursed Child for the Harry Potter universe.
Yes. Yep.
And one of the hosts is like a huge Harry Potter fan, and she read the book, and she said that the man has a completely disregard for things that are already established in the universe. So just giving you that side of the story.
I mean,
I don't know.
I don't think Kathy Kennedy is going to let Jack Thorne run wild. I think that he will do exactly what they tell him to do.
I think also post Han Solo project, they might be keeping a little tighter eye and hold on it.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, Jack Thorne has created a whole bunch of British television shows.
Yeah,
he's a pro.
Yeah.
This didn't strike me. It was a standard rewrite story.
Yeah.
And then in another bit of Star Wars news, Ron Howard doesn't go anywhere without his brother Clint.
Yeah.
And so Clint is coming aboard the Han Solo movie. We don't know what he's going to be doing. We don't know what he's going to be playing. For all we know, he's replacing Alden as Han Solo. Clint Howard is Han Solo, folks.
I'm assuming a lot of assumptions this week. I'm going to assume it's going to be in a lightly comedic role.
He's going to turn around in a chair and be like, Captain Admiral, the phasers are set for, I don't know.
I'm Darth
Star
Vader.
Trek, isn't it?
Or something, Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there are those stories all the time of,
These are not the droids I'm looking for.
People are playing stormtroopers. Daniel Craig joined Star Wars and all this shit.
You can put anyone in those costumes.
What does this even matter?
Yeah. I mean, I think that'll be. I think it's a nice little nod. I mean, why not? It's not going to hurt anybody, and I think it's go for it.
Yeah,
it would tickle me.
Everybody loves Clint Howard. Who doesn't like seeing Clint Howard in a Ron Howard movie? It's a reassuring, it's like a security blanket, a warm slice of apple pie.
I'll tell you who does love seeing Clint Howard in movies. Clint Howard's agent.
You think he has an agent?
I know.
He must. He's in like 1,000 movies a year, so.
I assume so. This guy's always working.
There was other Howard family news this week.
There was.
Bryce Dallas Howard, king of the segues.
Mm-hmm.
Bryce Dallas Howard going to make her directorial debut on Sorta Like a Rock Star. Yeah. So I have known about this for months. She's replacing Miguel Arteta. This movie used to be at Fox Searchlight. I didn't realize that it got bounced out of Fox Searchlight and is now coming together as an indie. Which is why I sort of lost track of it, I guess. But yeah, so I don't know if this movie will ever happen, but they are trying to do it independently. Mm-hmm. And Bryce Dallas Howard has been making a bunch of shorts.
Yes, she has.
And she's obviously been in the business for a while, so I totally get, and it's in her blood.
She's
so
cut from the Howard cloth.
Exactly. I get why she would do this.
One thing I thought she might do, first of all, was do, I don't know why, but I assume that she might do some TV.
And who knows? She
just
still
assumed that she would cut her teeth because she's done the shorts. I just thought she might move in, and she's done. She's been on some interesting TV stuff.
Did Ron start in TV?
No,
when did Ron Howard start directing movies in the 80s?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But no, I just assumed that she might cut her teeth on TV and then go into film. But I'm interested.
Not everybody does that.
I'm interested to see what she is going to turn out. Definitely.
Yeah,
I really enjoy her as I really enjoy her as an actor, and I think she has a very clear understanding of the art from both sides of the camera. And I think being cut, as you say, from the Howard cloth, the advice is there.
I don't think she would dive into it if she didn't feel she was ready for it.
No.
So,
no.
Congrats to
that's
Bryce
fantastic.
Dallas.
And another female director in Hollywood. So
yes,
good news.
There was female director news on this Lionsgate movie called Babe Walker.
Great segue.
It's this movie with Danielle McDonald. She's been circling it for a while, but I'm told that Nahnatchka Khan is going to make her feature directorial debut on that one. She's the creator of Fresh Off the Boat. Do you watch that show?
I admit to watching a couple of the episodes when it first started. I am not a fan.
It's like about a woman who's like basically has to go to shopping rehab.
Yeah.
And it was originally called White Girl Problems. There was a little confusion this week as Deadline reported it under that title and with a different director. But I think the Nahnatchka Khan thing is going to stick. We'll see. Okay, other big news. Bond. You wanted to talk about Bond, although I'm told that this is kind of non-news, but you never know.
Yeah.
So go for it.
There's been a lot of Bond talk in the last sort of, few weeks. I mean, it's been constantly about whether Daniel Craig will return or not, but this is slightly different. There's a rumoured title for the new Bond movie. And the last couple of times that this has happened...
it's been accurate, right?
It's been accurate. Right. So the latest rumour is that the new Bond movie will be called Shatterhand, which is an interesting title. It doesn't give a huge amount away. I think we will have more of a clue if what they've done previously is we see domains being registered in the name of this property. I strongly suggest, though, if you're thinking of registering this as a domain, don't. You won't make any friends in Hollywood. And you might find yourself with a suit if they are thinking of doing this. So Shatterhand would be quite interesting. But it did make me think, I kind of miss the days of Bond movies where they had longer titles, like The Man with the Golden Gun.
Yeah.
Never Say Never Again.
I'm with you on that.
I do enjoy the, Quantum of Solace, 3 words, yeah. But I'm like, Casino Royale, Spectre,
Yeah, they're blunt. They're blunt. Just like Daniel Craig as Bond is.
Yeah. What happened to, Diamonds, Are Forever, and
Simon would like 3 words in his next title.
At least 3 words in a Bond title, please.
5 would be ideal, though.
But
the idea of a blind villain, I think, would be super cool.
A blind villain would be awesome.
Yeah. I'm into that. But that when they cast fucking Tom Cruise, there's going to be an uproar from the blind community, and why didn't they cast a blind actor, and etc. Just be prepared for that if they do that.
Yeah, I'm sure. But I mean, a blind actor, they haven't had blind villain. I'll tell you who I'd love to see doing that.
Who?
Rutger Hauer.
This is like your John
McTiernan. No, seriously, Rutger Hauer, I love as an actor. Okay, and he's played blind before in the great late 80s action movie Blind Fury, late 80s, early 90s. He's played blind before.
Let me know when you're done with this.
No, but come on. Also, I think he would be. He's massively underused.
You know what would be the coolest? I'm just going to throw this out there right now.
If I never did the show again?
No.
Okay.
So I saw Logan Lucky yesterday.
Okay.
And I saw Daniel Craig, and he's fucking. He just looks huge. Maybe it's just the way they shoot him. And I'm watching this movie, and I'm thinking he would make such a great villain. For like a big comic book movie, whether it's Marvel or the DCU. Oh my God, Daniel Craig would be perfect for something. Maybe like the Captain Marvel villain. I don't even know. But man, wouldn't it be cool if Daniel Craig played the villain in a Bond movie, in his own Bond movie, and it was just Craig versus Craig. Do you like that idea, Simon? Am I crazy?
That's not the worst idea.
It's better than Rutger Hauer, I'm telling you.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. It's on a par, if slightly below, Rutger Hauer, but I don't think we're going to see that. I think there's more chance of seeing Rutger Hauer being the Bond villain than there is of Daniel Craig.
If they pulled some Mission Impossible shit though, where like it was someone wearing like a 007 mask, and he was like going around like pretending to he's like the evil 007, going around doing bad shit as 007, and then MI6 comes after James.
Do you know what? I'm warming to the idea.
See?
I'll tell you what that film needs.
What?
Rutger Hauer.
I'll tell you what it needs, a director.
Yeah.
By the way, and you weren't here last week for the show, but did you see those?
I was here last week.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, that hurts.
Wait.
It was.
All right, with El Miami. So we already talked about Jan Demange.
Yeah.
Forgive me.
Yeah.
Okay.
But...
You weren't here the 2 weeks before that show.
That's correct. Yeah.
I forgot which week that Bond is.
So who else would you like then to see play the supervillain? Because there are. I think we should. Someone said in the text that in the chat that they think Rutger Hauer is too old. Someone else has suggested Kevin Bacon.
Too hammy. I don't know.
Is he? With Tremors?
I've seen him as a villain enough times. I would want it to be somebody completely different.
I get your Kevin Bacon can be hammy, but have you seen that film, The Woodsman?
Yeah, he's great.
He's brilliant.
He's great
as a pedophile.
I mean, Sleepers. He's an amazing villain
a great actor.
Sleepers. That's not what I was saying, and I guess Bond is kind of hammy anyways. But nah, Kevin Bacon's not who comes to mind. I'd have to think about that one. Let's move it on now. Let's move along because we got a bunch of stuff, and I still want to talk movies. There's like 20 minutes left to show here.
Okay.
There's a Miami Vice reboot coming to television.
There is.
From Vin Diesel. It's unknown if he's going to star, right?
Yeah.
Like, He couldn't possibly, could he?
Of course he could. He's Vin Diesel.
And he would be like the Don. Would he be Tubbs or Crockett? Like what?
I don't know. I think I don't know. This is like his Dungeons and Dragons thing. You know, I don't know. I mean, I would fully expect that if Vin Diesel's making a Miami Vice TV show, Vin Diesel will probably want to be in it. I think Vin Diesel does things
I like
so
the
Vin
Miami
Diesel
Vice
can do
aesthetic, so I'm open to that. But like, I don't want to see Miami Vice on CBS. You know, like Hawaii Five-0. I'm not gonna watch that show. What channel is it on? Did they say?
I think it said CBS.
It is CBS.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I mean, I personally, I would like to see another Miami Vice movie.
Whoa, that is a hot take.
And it was
Is there an
it was
extinguisher
suggested
in this studio?
It was suggested earlier by someone on the team here that a great pairing for that would be The Rock and Jason Statham.
No.
No?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No. Jason Statham is not
Put him in
like,
everything.
Cool.
Bond villain.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. But no, not for Miami Vice, the two of them. Please stay away from that, Dwayne, after Baywatch.
I don't even know if Dwayne Johnson has time to do it.
He doesn't.
But I think if they didn't do it as a comedic Miami Vice, because nobody's got time for that.
I would be fine with that if they went the Jump Street route and made it a comedy. Yes, the super serious Michael Mann version did not work. And that movie has its fans. Some people love that movie. No, Jamie Foxx and Colin Farrell, no.
I'm not a fan of that movie.
But I'll tell you what though. If Ben Affleck dropped out as Batman, if he did, Colin Farrell, keep an eye on that. He's got that look, you know. That
do you mean he has a chin?
That stubbly like man look.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they like him at Warner Brothers. Anyways, Vin Diesel, Miami Vice. Yeah, I ain't buying it.
No, I'm not seeing. No, I mean I'm not buying it, but I think there are certain TV shows, certain movies that have worked at TV shows. Lethal Weapon is a good example.
That works. You tune into Lethal Weapon.
I do. I enjoy that show.
Oh my god, I watched one episode of Lethal Weapon and I liked it, but who was gonna sit and
Makes
watch
it sound like you were
Lethal
sexually
Weapon
experimenting. It's like I watched one episode, I quite liked it,
because who
but
watches
I'm not a fan.
these shows?
A lot of people watch Lethal Weapon.
All right. Well, this Miami Vice did not upset me as much as this one. And
okay.
But I have to preface this.
Uh-oh.
I have to preface this.
Right.
I love John Hurwitz and Hayden Schlossberg. I love these guys.
Yeah.
And this is not an attack on them. But I feel like I have to say this because I would say it if it wasn't them. A Karate Kid continuation on YouTube Red starring Ralph Macchio and William Zabka. Guys, don't do this. Don't do this. Do not do this. Simon, tell me I'm crazy.
No, I love and despise the idea in equal measures. I love The Karate Kid. I love The Karate Kid. It's one of my favorite films of all time.
I love it too.
It's brilliant. I love Karate Kid too.
So do I.
And then we stop. Nothing has worked on YouTube Red.
What?
Nothing
has
worked.
Fuck is YouTube Red, guys?
Nobody says, I'll tell you where I want my show, YouTube Red.
If you're going to do this...
doesn't happen.
Yeah, if you're going to do this, do it for real.
Yeah.
Do it for real. What is YouTube Red? What is this? Who's going to watch this?
Now, I know...
15-year-olds watch YouTube Red, and they don't know what the Karate Kid is. No, they do not. Made before 1990? No.
No. I would love... I love the idea of something new with the Karate Kid with Ralph. I do. I don't love this idea. I think it's going to be horrible.
This is like making fun of like them and like Zabka and like how what the culture has done with Zabka and the Cobra Kai.
I would rather see Funny or Die do
exactly that,
a
and
comedy
that's what
sketch
this is.
with
that's
these
what
guys
this
in.
Is.
I love the Karate Kid. I'm not going to sit at home or on a train or watch it on my phone because it's mobile and watch this.
And Ralph Macchio, dude,
I'm not going to do that.
Like you you can't go back to LaRusso, bro. You have to know that. You have to know that. This I saw that news and my jaw dropped this morning, and I was like, we're gonna have to talk about it. As much as I love John Hayden, I just can't get behind this. I can't.
I can only assume they've taken it to networks, and the networks have said no.
I've laughed them out of the room because it's absurd.
But there are ways that they could do it as a TV show. I mean, they could.
Then that's fine. Then that's still a different thing than a YouTube Red series. YouTube Red is for teenagers. I don't know a single adult who's ever seen anything on YouTube Red, and this is a series ostensibly for adults who grew up watching that shit in the 80s.
I don't know any teenagers or young adults, 20-somethings, that have watched stuff on YouTube Red. Nothing that I have seen on YouTube Red or advertised being on YouTube Red has cut through, has had an impact. I mean, I'm not saying nobody watches them. There is obviously an audience for it. But when you're someone, for instance, you take a YouTube star like, PewDiePie, and they do something on YouTube Red, and even their fans don't watch it. When the fans of someone don't watch something, it tells you it's not working.
Nostalgia ploy. Nobody is wondering what happened to LaRusso and Zabka and the Cobra Kai.
I know that YouTube are very much trying to move into this TV space and even subscription TV and stuff like that, especially here in the US. But I don't like this idea. This is not the way to do it.
It just feels craven and thirsty. Please.
But no, I'm just not. Good idea though. From Zeno Hour in the chat. Oh, also say hello to Space Pirate, who is watching live.
What up, Space Pirate?
What's up, Space Pirate? You're my favourite of all the galactic-based villains.
What are you about to entertain us with right here?
Okay, Zeno Hour is suggesting that Mahershala Ali and Ryan Gosling for Miami Vice.
Guys.
No?
Where's my Xanax? You can't just throw out two cool movie stars for something. They would never do that. Why would Ryan Gosling do that?
Come on, it's Hollywood. It's Hollywood bingo.
It's like this dream castings thing, but like it's not realistic. Why have a dream that's not realistic? I want to be president of the moon.
How many movies have been made, though, in the last couple of years where it's like, we've got actor A, we've got actor B, what can we get them to do? Funny shit?
Oh, my God.
Something funny?
Ian McShane joined Hellboy this week.
Yeah, I did. For lunch.
Yeah, again, I don't care about this Hellboy movie either way. Really? Ian McShane is very much a B-movie casting. I mean,
I think that's fair. He has a loyal following, though.
Listen, everybody loves Al Swearingen from Deadwood, and now he's on American Gods. Yeah. And obviously he's cool. Everybody likes Ian McShane. He's a cool fucking guy and a nice addition to Hellboy. But it's not like they got Johnny Depp to be whatever.
Johnny Depp
or Brad Pitt or any of these big guys. Ian McShane is a Lionsgate level star. Clearly, he was in the John Wick movies and American Gods. Lionsgate owns stars. Congratulations to Hellboy, but whatever. You?
I'm excited about the movie. I'm looking forward to it. I like Hellboy, and I like, I think this. Talking about John Wick, I think this is going to sit somewhere around the John Wick, where I think it's going to come out. It's going to be mid-budget, and I think it's going to make money, and I think it's going to find an audience, and I think that'll either be it or it will spawn a franchise. I know that's kind of an obvious thing to say, but I think that's going to happen, and I think this could be a John Wick-esque mini phenomena, and I think it will find a more audience than that the original Hellboy did. I think it's going to be handled in a different way, and I think that casting these guys, I think, is going to push it in that direction really nicely. And I think with that John Wick connection, I think it's going to bring an audience to this product that I think will push it in a very interesting way. And I think it's one of the reasons that I'm interested in it.
I think that it is going to be the next Dark Tower. I do not think that Hellboy is a big enough character. Hellboy is not a big enough character to launch without a movie star or an A-list director. Now, Ron Perlman was not, Mr. Movie Star. David Harbour is certainly not Mr. Movie Star. No. But without the Guillermo thing, I'm not interested, and I don't think others will be either. Ant-Man and the Wasp started production
in Atlanta this week.
Yeah, can you believe it? Atlanta. Marvel put out a little video about this, and it was a cute little thing that amounted to 2 miniature director chairs. The internet went wild. I don't even know if I posted this on my site. It was like, this is a 14-second video with one visual gag about mini chairs.
Yeah.
Do our readers need to see that? I don't know. It was cute. It was clever. It's
You
better
don't,
than
you don't have to cover it though, because everybody's going to retweet it.
It's better than a standard, start of production release. It was a tongue-in-cheek thing that conveyed the humor of Ant-Man and the Wasp, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I'll tell you what though, if you own an Airbnb, Atlanta is the place to be right now, because you're going to be renting that stuff out for months at a time, all year round, because there is so much being filmed in Atlanta right now. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I really enjoyed Ant-Man. I loved Ant-Man. I love the cast that they've got lined up for this, and off the strength of the first film, I just think it's going to be great. Yeah, I'm
excited for the sequel and Michelle Pfeiffer, nice addition. Weta starring Avatar sequels.
Yeah, they have started work on that, which I think will be. It's no real surprise, that news, because obviously, what are we 2-3 years off from the first one? So now would be about right for them to work on that, and they've had a bit of downtime. So at least we know
movies you knew were getting made have
started to get made. But it is kind of weird, because James Cameron has spoken about this so often that it's kind of it's happening, it's happening.
Now it is actually happening. So believe it, baby.
Okay, let's talk about box office.
Yeah, give us the box office report, Simon.
Okay, 2 major releases this week: The Dark Tower and Detroit. Obviously, Kidnap is out as well, which they're looking at. It's going to be kind of a slow end. That's going to be like a 10 million this weekend, the Halle Berry movie, which has been handed around for a long time. It was made like 2.5 years ago. The 2 big movies are The Dark Tower, which we all know has had horrendous reviews, and Detroit, which you did not like, but I actually really enjoyed. I did like that movie. So Dark Tower previews last night, 1.8 million. It's looking at a weekend of about 20 to 25 million. Studio is more conservative with a 19 million. I would not want to be in the Sony office right now. I don't think it's a fun place to be.
If there's a 1 in front of that number on Monday morning, that's bad news.
Yes. It was not cheap to make. It was not the most expensive movie.
Yeah, no, it was 66, which isn't bad.
No. But you gotta make that back.
No one's gonna lose their shirt on this.
No, but we'll see how that goes this weekend. But coming off last weekend, the opening of Emoji Movie and the drumming that got, to then have another movie coming out this weekend, The Dark Tower, and it
back-to-back single-digit Rotten Tomato scores. I don't know if this has a single-digit score, but it could be on its way there.
And then Detroit.
So did you see Dark Tower or no?
I did not. I was going to go and see it, and then I realized that life was unfortunately too short.
That's exactly how I felt.
Yeah.
I read and edited Drew McWeeney's review, which was excellent. Drew McWeeney's a huge Stephen King fan. There's maybe 4 reviews I would steer you to for this film. Jermaine Lussier, Eric Vespi, who's Quint on Ain't It Cool, and obviously Drew's. He gave it a D, and as soon as I edited that review, I was like, all right, I'm not going to go to this press screening on Wednesday.
No,
sorry.
I will catch that either in a like a $3 movie theater when I have like half an afternoon off or something.
I'll rent it out of curiosity.
Or I'll get it on like a
in 6 months.
Yeah.
Okay, so Detroit.
Yeah, Detroit's been out for 2 weeks on limited releases. So that's 1 week. Yeah. And I think it's 116. No, that's incorrect. It's been out here for 1 week on limited release. It's looking at an opening weekend nationally of about 10 to 15 million this weekend, which is lower than I kind of would have expected it to be.
Oh, no, that's right where I expected it to be.
I thought it would have been a bit more towards the 15, potentially 20, but, 10 to 15 is fine. I know a lot of people have. You did not like this movie. I actually really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was a fascinating.
So we have 6 minutes left in the show, and there are a few other things that I do want to talk about. But what did you like? Did it make you feel like? Were you stirred on the inside? Were you moved? Was it powerful?
I was.
Or was it just like?
It's one thing that I'm surprised about with the movie is the fact that I think some of the marketing is off by the fact that it makes it look like it is a
riot movie.
It's a riot movie. It is not a riot movie.
Not at all.
That is part of the movie. There is a setup. There is that part of the movie where they're in the Algiers, and then there is another part of the movie.
Yeah.
It's very much a movie of 3 acts. I did not like the courtroom kind of stuff. I thought that felt a little bit
40
too
minutes.
Hollywood.
The movie ends after the shit at the Algiers.
Yeah.
That's when it should have ended. And then there's another 40 minutes of this movie.
It tailed for me, which was a disappointment, but I stayed with it because I wanted to know what happened to some of the characters, and we do find out at the end because of it is something that actually happened. So it's interesting to see how those stories have moved forward. I thought there were a lot of great performances in there. Will Poulter was good. I thought that
he was
Anthony
good.
Mackie
He was
great.
effective in that I hated Will Poulter. He made me hate him. But I still felt like he was miscast. He felt like he was 12 fucking years old up there.
Yeah.
He looks like a fucking kid. He looked like someone
right
playing a cop.
Yeah. And, but a lot of the supporting cast, who are not particularly well known, I thought
Algie Smith was very good.
Yeah, gave some great performances. And I liked the direction. I thought it was good. I thought the guys who played the companions of Will Poulter, some of the lower level guys.
I like Ben O'Toole.
Yeah,
Ben O'Toole was maybe my. I actually agree with that.
Yeah, he was.
I thought Ben O'Toole played his role the best I think someone could play it.
It is not an easy watch. I think it is. It's not a balanced movie. I think it's sort of story and dynamics. It didn't quite. It felt a bit bitty to me occasionally, kind of switching tone a little bit. But I still, as a film, I found it fascinating to watch and to learn more about this story.
Drew gave it a B- and just said, great.
That's fair.
Drew gave it a B-, and it was just like, this is a great piece of journalism, but doesn't work dramatically.
Yeah. People are asking John Boyega. I think John Boyega's. I thought he was good. I know you disagree with this.
It's not even a matter of good or bad. He's a nothing. He's a complete non-factor in this story.
Yeah.
He stands there watching. He's like a member of the audience.
He's not given enough to do to make an impact. What he does very well because I think he's a good actor. But he doesn't add. I was waiting for him to add more to the story, to add more to the chemistry, to the dynamic of the film. He doesn't. He feels like an add-on as a character, unfortunately.
Got your message in the booth, and thank you for that, and we'll probably go in an extra 10 minutes. John Boyega, though, I just felt like he was miscast. I felt like I was watching the kid from Star Wars, and unfortunately, that comes with the territory of being in a Star Wars movie. Mark Hamill dealt with it throughout his career.
Yeah.
I felt like I was watching the fucking kid from Star Wars in the middle of a Catherine Bigelow movie, and it wasn't a good feeling. Listen, do you agree with me? This is a horror movie. This follows horror movie conventions.
No, I would disagree with you on that because if you look at the third act, that is very much it's a law and order drama. It's a social drama. I get the fact that in the house it feels, in the Algiers, in the motel, it feels like a horror movie. In the same way that, say, Don't Speak was like a horror thriller.
Sure.
I kind of get what you're saying. I wouldn't class it as horror. And the first part is very much kind of like it's drama. So it shifts.
Courtroom drama, though, is horror, too. It's like stomach-churning. It's sickening, the injustice. And that is what Catherine Bigelow wants to force your head to sit there and watch it.
Do you know where
you can't turn away?
Do you know where Boyega, for me, really came into his own and showed that he really had a lot more to give? It's in the interrogation scene when the cops take him away.
Okay, I'll give John that. I'll give that.
That was where he really came into his own.
During the meat of the movie, which is the Algiers stuff.
Superfluous.
He was like a non-factor, but you're right. The interrogation scene was good. This movie has its moments.
But in the main part of the film that they're selling, he didn't have anything to do.
I just felt so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And again, that is the goal of the film, but I felt so uncomfortable sitting there watching. I couldn't wait to get out. It felt like watching a Hostel movie. I thought it was torture porn, and I was sitting there thinking it, and my roommate turned to me and even said, "This feels like torture porn."
No, see, you said that comment to me before I went to see it. I didn't feel it was torture porn. It's really fucking uncomfortable, and
it was more uncomfortable than anything in Zero Dark 30, and she was accused of torture porn for that movie.
Yeah.
And have you seen Strange Days?
Yeah.
Like there's essentially a rape scene in that movie, that people have also equated to torture porn. I love Catherine Bigelow as a filmmaker. I think she's a brilliant fucking genius. This movie, I just don't think was her finest hour.
So, yeah.
And I can't be reasoned with otherwise. It was missing something huge.
No, I agree. No, I agree on both those points. It is not her finest movie, and I think it was lacking something huge. I think I wouldn't go as far as saying it's torture porn. I would say that it is very grim. It is very. It is stomach churning. A lot of the stuff that it's uncomfortable.
It's a tough sit.
It is
tough sit for a wide release movie in the middle of summer to sit there.
It's uncomfortable. It's horrible. But I think in this case, because of the subject matter, because you got a racist cop, I think
Okay, let's talk about that real briefly. Like, to me, they were working on another project that they were pretty far down the line with, and then all these cop shootings start happening, and they jump ship and they're like, we're gonna do a Detroit movie and turn it around pretty quickly. There's something in that, like a movie can't compete with real life these days, and there's something a little craven, I think, in their decision to make a movie about that stuff. I'm not saying that as a woman or as a white filmmaker she shouldn't have told us and that this wasn't her story to tell. I will defend Catherine Bigelow's right to make this movie.
Yeah.
I just honestly think that the motivation for it is to like make something that's political and timely, and I just don't think this was a story that they were dying to tell. And it's just like this current events thing with her again right after Bin Laden and Zero Dark 30. It's just like,
yeah, I get
just making current event movies.
I get the current event angle, and yes, it is in essence related to kind of current events and things, but it's not as if the abuse of African Americans is an isolated or repeated but infrequent event.
Sure, and maybe that's what it's highlighting, is that history is repeating itself now.
But I think you could make a film about black people being abused anytime, and it would still be relevant. Because unfortunately, racism isn't on a seasonal shift.
To me, it just felt calculated, and maybe that's cynical on my part. But
no, I don't think it's entirely cynical.
Her motivations for making this movie.
No, I don't think it's entirely cynical. I think it has. I think you are to an extent correct, because it is a heightened issue right now. But it's not as if there's like, oh, well, for the last 3 years, black people have had a fine time with cops and there hasn't been an issue. This is a recurring and ongoing issue that I think is in society. So I think whenever she could make this movie, it would still be pertinent. I think I would have liked for her to have spent, and the entire team to have spent, another 9 months on it. I think they would have got a far more hard-hitting, I think a far more solid movie if they'd have done that rather than perhaps push to rush it out. I think that would have worked very strongly in its favour. And I think it does feel a little bit uneven, like I said. And I get the timing, but there's never any good time to release a movie that's like this.
Do you feel this is a wide release movie? Or do they know it's not a wide release movie, but they want it to be seen by, to allow everybody to have a chance to see it?
It is not. It is not for me a wide release movie. I do not see people rushing to multiplexes to see this. I see people going to places like the ArcLight and smaller places to go and see this. It is not a date night movie. No, it is not a let's go and watch something. Sure. It's not an entertainment movie. It's an informational movie.
You know who was good in this movie, I will say? Hannah Murray.
Yeah, I know.
Hannah Murray was actually really good. Yeah. I had never seen her before because I don't watch Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
But she actually left the movie. I'm very impressed with her.
But yeah, I mean, I would recommend going to see Detroit. I think it's a part of social history that a lot of people won't be aware of. I think it might not play as well outside of America because people won't be well aware of the social history. I think those audience will go and see it because of who's in it. But also for me, Anthony Mackie was a standout. I thought Anthony Mackie was great.
Listen, Mackie classes up everything.
Yeah. I think there's enough in there for me to say go
What
and
about the
see
Krasinski thing? Krasinski? If I just say the word Krasinski,
yeah, no,
what
pointless.
Are you thinking? Well, point, but not even pointless. Taking you out, like not just a zero, a negative, a negative. He took me out of the movie completely. Here's this movie where you barely. I mean, I thought it was like watching the Star Wars guy, but a lot of people will just take a step back and think this is a movie full of unknowns. And then Krasinski comes in, and it's like, is that the guy from the fucking Office with a bad haircut?
Yeah.
I don't understand the rationale behind that casting. You don't need a big star for that.
No.
There was decisions like that I found baffling.
There was another piece of casting. There was a guy who is not... I've completely blanked on his name, but he was in Dirty Sexy Money, and he's been in a few other things. And he was in this as a horribly underused, and I don't know why, because he's a very good actor. And he was kind of John Boyega's boss, and he would call people in. He's one of the murder cops, and he'd go, you come in and do that. And he was really... It was like salt and pepper type hair, and he was really, really good. And I was like... Again, that was distracting because he was an actor that felt to me, you're in this for a reason. No, you're kind of relegated to a A pointless. I'll find his name.
I don't know where you're going with this at all.
But it was to me for him.
He sounds like an
like,
actor who you recognize, and you're like,
no, he's the kind of actor that you see when you pop in a movie. It's like you're in this movie for a reason, and then you kind of like, I don't see the reason why they cast you to be in it. They could have cast anybody to be in that role. You're a bit of a waste.
What do you think of the critics though who say that this was not Catherine Bigelow's movie to tell, and that she should have let a black filmmaker tell this story, or things like that?
I'm kind of torn on this issue. No, I don't think we should ever have an industry where black people make black stories
right.
and white people make white stories. Yeah. I think that's that's as dangerous a precedent as saying the other way around, that white people can't tell stories. Do I think someone who was African American or generally black, not necessarily American, could tell us? I think Steve McQueen, I'd love to see Steve McQueen's version of this movie. Absolutely. Do I think this is a story that is not for white people to tell? I don't think so.
If it was like a story...
Do I think a black director would have made a different film? Yes, absolutely. Yes. I think they would bring something completely different to the film. But do I think that white people shouldn't make these movies? I don't think so.
And why hadn't a black filmmaker made it before? They didn't make it.
I'm sure
they didn't want to. Yeah. I don't know. I hadn't heard of any anything in development.
I think it's equally as divisive and as racist to say that if you're white, you can't understand this story.
With you. That argument is
think it's
crazy.
Dangerous to have that.
Okay, let's move along from that. Did you see the Death Wish trailer this week?
I did.
What'd you think of that?
I'm genuinely really excited about this.
I don't know who you are sometimes, bro.
I love and I hate the original Death Wish, the Michael Winner movie. I think it's grim. I think it's misogynist. I think it's a nasty film. But sometimes, do you know what? That it is what it is. But it doesn't mean it's a bad movie.
It's a movie of its time.
It's a movie of its time, and I think in its context and being aware of that, I think absolutely. I like what Eli Roth has done with this so far, and I'm liking Bruce Willis in it.
Listen, I'm going to see this. I love Eli Roth.
Yeah.
And I like Bruce. That trailer did not look good. And it did not look good for the AC/DC reason. Okay?
Okay.
It put like this upbeat, peppy like tone to it that the footage did not really seem to correspond to whatsoever. I thought it was a miserable fucking trailer.
Yeah.
The whole point of Death Wish is that this is a non-violent family man whose family is taken from him, and he snaps. He hits a breaking point, and he becomes a vigilante. It's not Bruce is back, baby. Like, what the fuck? Complete opposite message, and I would be stunned if the next trailer looks anything like this.
You see, that one of the reasons I like it is the fact that it is... I want to see the progression of the trailers.
It was like...
That's what I want to see.
Bruce killing people. Like, that is not Death Wish.
I know people think this looks terrible. I'm still looking forward to this movie. And also, Kevin Austin said in the chat, Glenn Fitzgerald is the actor that I was thinking of. That's absolutely right. Yeah.
Okay. A couple of other things, because we do want to wrap up the show relatively quickly. Little Shop of Horrors. There were rumors about Josh Gad and Rebel Wilson.
This is a story that you and I have known about for a while, and it's been out there. They're remaking Little Shop of Horrors. Warner are doing this.
Greg Berlanti.
Yeah, and basically they went to him and one of the websites, and they said, basically, what is the situation? We hear Josh Gad and Rebel Wilson, and he said no. Now I spoke to Josh Gad at D23 about this. I kind of blindsided him with it. I was working for E. And when I put it to him, he looked startled. And he then sang a bit of Suddenly Seymour. And, it was to Kristen Bell, because they were talking about the new Frozen movie. And so he was singing this to her, and she genuinely got really excited. And she asked him, is he in it? He wouldn't give an answer. So I know this has been dismissed, but... do not be surprised if this actually turns out to be something that is happening.
Yeah, I had been tracking the Josh Gad
we've had conversations
Little Shop
about
of Horrors thing, so it may not be as much bullshit as we think.
So don't dismiss it.
I'd also, obviously there's rumors about him being, the Penguin in the Batman universe.
Yeah.
Those exist. And then, I think that there was development news a while back about Josh Gad writing a Disney movie, a live-action Disney movie. Just so we're clear, from what I'm told, that is Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Would he then star in it in the Rick Moranis role? That would make sense. I'd be on board with that.
So I'm just saying, like, right now, people are definitely looking at Josh Gad as like the new Rick Moranis in a sense, because from what I am told, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and potentially Little Shop of Horrors. So, and he can sing. That's why you would do Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy was in Book of Mormon. We will see in time whether that makes sense. I think Josh Gad and Rebel Wilson would actually be really cool for Little Shop of Horrors.
I think it would work. I know a lot of people don't like
Either way, it's clear
it
doesn't look like it's going to be Joseph Gordon-Levitt, since Joseph Gordon-Levitt's doing that other musical that he's going to direct with Channing Tatum, I think.
Now, we at the top of the show, we talked about Lion King and possible voices for Rafiki.
Yep.
Okay. Zeno Hour suggested maybe Hugh Jackman as Rafiki. Jody has suggested Jamie Dornan. Zeno Hour suggested Janelle Monáe for Nala. And Dylan suggested Sterling K. Brown as Rafiki, maybe. And then Space Pirate suggested Steve Zahn.
Congratulations to people in the chat. You are aware of actors.
Do you know who I think should play Rafiki?
Who?
Rutger Hauer.
Okay. Broad Green shut down its production division this week, so that's bad news for the entire town. It is not a good thing for Hollywood when billionaires come to town and lose a bunch of money and have to lay off a bunch of people and let go of 50 projects in development.
But do you know what? Here's a really good idea. Make good movies.
Yeah, again, I like the Broad Green
movies.
guys. I like the Hammond brothers. I would go work for them if they asked me, but at the same time, when they sat down and they were like so pumped to be in business with Malick and building this company around Malick movies, I'm like, you guys are fucking insane.
You're not going to build a business around that.
There was a comic book called Black that got optioned this week by Studio 8. I thought it had a really cool premise. It's set in the future in America where only black people have superpowers.
Yeah,
that sounded cool. Would you see a movie about that?
Yeah, I absolutely would.
Did you see the trailer for Super Dark Times?
I did not.
Dude, gotta check that out. Super Dark Times looks sick. If you are watching this on the internet, which I imagine that you are, definitely open up a tab and check that trailer out. And I think we're going to close the show with this one. Is there anything else you want to talk about? I have one item left.
I have one thing I would like to flag up. It's a piece I wrote for Forbes this week. Someone who's moved from filmmaking into the social media space. Oren Peli. Director of Paranormal Activity. Yeah, a lot of people have picked up on this story. Variety picked up on it after me. TechCrunch, so did The Wrap. They all picked up on this story after I'd done it. My headline, Paranormal Activity. I was so proud of that pun this week.
Nice.
And Oren actually sent me an email to thank me personally.
He seems like a cool dude.
He's a really nice guy.
We have some mutual friends.
Yeah.
They said he did very well off Paranormal Activity. I heard he has like 5 pools. So
then I'm going to respond to his email.
Yeah, really. Get a fucking invite to Oren's house and bring me.
4 spare pools.
No, the last thing that we're going to talk about is something that my roommate showed me last night.
The app is called Spot, by the way.
Okay, cool. What does it do?
It's like a social meetup. It's where you find like-minded people and stuff like that.
I remember reading that story now.
So it's on Apple Store. It's on Android.
Okay, the last thing we're going to talk about is something that I watched last night with my roommate. I was very impressed by it. I thought, ooh, should I get something up on this? And then I said, nah, I'll do it in the morning. And then I woke up and Deadline had a piece on it this morning, and that is a lesson. Don't fucking wait in this business. Post as soon as you think that there is something newsworthy. And of course, I am talking about the animated short film In a Heartbeat. Have you seen this?
I have seen it.
Beautiful, right?
It is amazing.
It's a lovely piece of work made by 2 very young people, one of whom she's like a 21-year-old animator. She's going to work for Sony on Hotel Transylvania. I thought Anita Bush at Deadline did a really good interview with them, or had a nice piece about it. If you haven't seen In a Heartbeat, I absolutely urge you to watch it. It seems like the first animated thing I have seen about young gay love.
I think it is probably, actually.
Yeah, it just seemed like a groundbreaking short, particularly for, in the LGBT community and everything, so I definitely encourage everybody to check that out. a touching piece. Anything else?
Yeah, a couple of things. I do check out what I've been writing on Forbes this week. I've also got a couple of things.
Plug it all.
Seriously,
plug it all.
If you go to the Forbes website and you search my name, I've got a couple of things coming out over the next few days, which will be very interesting. If you are a horror fan, you will want to be on my feed on Forbes at 3 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. I'll be dropping something that will be a very
3 p.m. on a Saturday.
3 p.m. on a Saturday.
Boom, stiff arm. No,
Yeah.
no, Saturday's a day off.
Even for me.
Dropping shit at 3 p.m. on a Saturday. Drop at 3 p.m.
It's
today,
embargo.
and you'll have
It's
my
embargo.
interest.
I can't do it. I'm on an
What
embargo.
else? What else?
Check out my interview with Oren Pelly, and I have a couple of other interviews going up in the next few days that you will find very,
Everybody
very
loves talking to Simon. He is
There's a great piece I did as well about, although I say it myself, about Get Out.
Tell us about every other amazing piece that you wrote this week.
Where do I begin? No, but seriously, there's a piece that and it includes some really interesting stuff from the guys at Blumhouse. So just check that out.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I am at the Sneider. Find my shit on the tracking board.
Actual shit.
My actual shit is on the tracking board, tracking-board.com. We've got a review of Brigsby Bear going up from Drew McWeeny, new columns from Neil Turretts. Yeah, a lot of fun stuff happening there. And I've got an interview with Siddharth Dhananjay.
What?
That's right, the star of Patty Cakes, which comes out today. Definitely see Patty Cakes. It's fucking baller. Or maybe Patty Cakes moved a week or two. But either way, that's it. That's our show for the week. You just met the movie press.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching the Popcorn Talk Network. Rate, comment, subscribe, all that good shit. Have a good weekend.
Rutger.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of its owners or principals.